You said you were going to go do some math.
Yeah, you ready to do TVM?
Math. We need math.
These are gonna be problems helpful for the test?
I'm sorry?
These are gonna be ones that are helpful for the test?
No, these have nothing to do with tests. I'm going to make the assumption, because we've talked about it before, that you have done some preliminary work with your calculators. So I can just start putting problems on the board, and you will be hopefully comfortable enough to ask me what the heck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So here's the problem. We'll start making them up. Jim just got $5,000 in an inheritance, and he's got big plans for a vacation in 3 years. What he needs in 3 years is not $5,000, but he needs $8,500. What kind of interest rate has he got to earn on his $5,000 in order to have $8,500 in 3 years?
I missed it.
So this is future.
No, I just want to.
Give me a chance to do it.
This is future.
Everybody got a calculator? The way I will ask you to show this on an exam. In this case, we're going to have a present value. It's $5,000. We're going to have a time period in this case it's 3 years. We're going to have a desired, future value of 8,500. What do we want to calculate?
IY.
IY. So my symbology for that is apostrophe IY. Apostrophe means calculate. Okay? And that will be your answer.
Okay, this one.
Now there's one other subtle secret about this problem you cannot forget.
One of them has to be negative.
And when you have a present value and a future value, one of them must be a negative number.
Present value.
If you wish, it matters not.
Oh, it goes.
It really doesn't. I'll see if I can drive this thing.
19.
What's the first thing you do before you begin a calculation?
Clear.
This is science.
Second, clear TVM. Second FV. Make sure the registers are empty. 5,000. Negative. Present value. 8,500 future. 3 N. Compute IY. He needs to earn 19.3483%.
Now mine rounded.
That's okay.
Okay.
This is closely akin to government work, and kind of like nuclear missiles. Close will do the job.
Looks to me like he needs more money because he ain't gonna get that interest rate.
Oh, you're so limited in your thinking. Gee whiz. You could round this off and say he needs about 19.3%, and that's a fine answer. Your calculator may be set to 4 decimals, or it may be set to 2. And if you want to change it, let me know. That's pretty easy. Okay? This is what I would want to see on the exam. If you would, kind of either double underline or circle your answer. Because if I look at that and it's right, I know I can keep growing. But if this is wrong, then I'll go back and look and see, did you make a minor error and get some partial credit? Or did you just really blow this bad?
Do you prefer the number you are seeking to be at the very bottom?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Here's my thinking, and here's my answer.
Do you prefer a certain amount of decimals?
No? Okay. No preference. Yes, ma'am?
When we were doing a problem together, we were like off from the problem by sometimes $8 or a few fruit pennies or something.
There's so much rounding going on in these problems, that's very minor.
Okay.
Not to be concerned.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am?
Whenever the time changes, like for say it's 6 months instead of 3 years,
Okay.
would we convert it? Like, are we converting 3 years into 36 months or no, keeping it at 3 years?
Right now, what I've done is keep it at 3 years, which means the interest compounds on this investment once every year.
Okay, so annually.
Okay? What if I gave you the same problem and told you that he will earn interest compounded quarterly.
Multiply your 5.
Multiply and divide.
What does that mean, compounded quarterly?
4 times a year you will get interest.
If he put this in January, at the end of March, they'd stop and say, how much interest have you got? Here it is. 3 months later, they'd stop and how much interest have you got on that? Here it is. And it builds more rapidly that way. So if we had quarterly compounding, then we've got to take our interest rate that we're going to come up with in our time period and adjust them. Okay? Quarterly for 3 years means 4 times every year for 3 years, right?
Right.
3 years, 4 times a year, so N becomes 12. Do that. I don't know about you, but I got error 5. That's good, because I didn't. I thought, I'm smarter than that, I could go around it.
4.5. Yep, that's what I got. 4.5.
4.52.
4.52. His interest rate needs to be 4.52%, what? Per quarter. Okay? He would have to earn a quarterly compounded rate of 4.52%.
What's that?
Is that how you want us to answer, Woody?
That's how I'd want your answer.
What's, per quarter?
Per quarter. That's not really very well written, is it? That's kind of like the stuff you're probably going to give me. Per quarter, got it.
What if we multiply it by 4 and gave it to you that way?
Then you would be giving me an annual rate. I need a quarterly rate.
For annual rate, you want us to write annually, or is that?
No, annual, I can see that through the
Okay.
calculation. You just got 3 years, I know we're all talking annual. Good questions. Anything else?
So what are the ones where you have the multiplication and the division?
I'll show you in a minute.
Okay.
So if you ask for a compounded quarter, if your question says compounded quarterly, you want a quarterly answer.
That's right.
Okay, right.
And if anything in there says monthly, put the whole problem on a monthly basis.
Got it.
I'll show you one of those here in a
Yes,
second.
thank
Yeah,
you.
let's do that.
Okay. Let's do a mortgage. What is a mortgage?
Payment.
For your house
A
or?
mortgage is a loan
Yeah.
that real estate is used as collateral. What does collateral mean?
They get it if you don't pay.
That's right. You don't pay your loan, we own your collateral. Okay? And you're not allowed to use children as collateral anymore, so I stopped borrowing money, right? Here's the deal. You want to take out an $80,000 mortgage. You want to finance it for 30 years. And the bank says, we'll do this for you at a rate of 5.14%. Annual rate. What I want you to calculate for me is how much your monthly mortgage payment will be.
Compounded on an annual rate, you said?
Mortgage payments are always quoted on a monthly basis.
So they're compounded monthly. Okay.
We need to divide by 12. I mean,
So we're going to do present value in IY, and we're going to calculate the payment. You see that? Anytime you borrow money, the loan amount is the present value. And again, either present value or payment's got to be negative, so I'm going to make that a negative. Okay so far? What are you going to put in for N?
360.
30 years, once a month. 12 times a year times 30. N is 30 times compounding periods. 360. You okay so far? You got real quiet on me.
Processing.
Okay, as long as you're not crying. What are you going to put in for IY?
.43.
0.43?
It's the annual rate, 5.14, but you're paying it 12 times a year, once a month, so you're gonna divide by 12. So look, on your calculator,
437.
on your calculator, 5.14 divided by 12 equals, and you'll see a number, right?
0.43, I rounded.
I got .0733? No, just testing you, be sure you're paying attention. I got .4283.
Yes.
Just leave it. If it displays 4 numbers, fine. If it displays 2, doesn't matter. Leave it. Whatever that number is, now press IY. Okay? Equals, oh, that number, press IY.
I need your computer.
437.
So, whatever that was, .4283. And then calculate your payment.
There we go.
How much is your payment?
426,
31.
Whoa.
400 and what?
37.
437,
31.
31.
I got 436.
I got 426, 36.
That's a rounding difference. Some of your calculators are rounding to 2 points, some are rounding to 4. Either answer is absolutely correct.
436 points.
436 point anything. That's cool.
So what's the range of rounding error? that
It
we-
depends on the scale of the problem. If this is an $800,000 model, it would
Okay,
more
okay.
than large.
But you'll be able to tell from what we've done there that
If you
we're
will
doing
present
it
it this
right.
way, I can tell exactly what you did.
Okay.
If you kept it all in terms of the annual rate and then divided the total amount by 12 at the end to give you a monthly payment?
Won't be the same. That amortization works all year long, and it makes a difference. The banks know that. They love to charge you interest
Right,
every
it's
month.
compounding.
This first one was
That's what they're doing.
like just simple savings account.
Incidentally, how much of this first payment do you suppose goes to pay off your mortgage?
None.
$2. None. You paying off the interest.
Maybe $30?
Maybe.
The rest of it goes to pay
Interest probably.
Interest.
Yeah.
interest on your loan.
It's crazy.
Interest gets paid first.
I mean, if you took .0514 times $80,000, how much is that? How do you do that
For
for?
free?
What are we doing?
.0514
4,112.
times 80,000. That's not right. I'm sorry.
41,120.
I'm sorry. Take the monthly rate.
Oh, wow. Okay.
.4283 times 80,000.
Divided.
Wait a minute. What am I doing wrong here? What's wrong here? Can you tell me?
I don't know.
When you take 5 divided by 12, you don't get,
I got that.
Yeah, you get that.
Oh, it's percent. You gotta put, do you have to move your
Decimal.
decimals over?
this is here, .0514 for percentage wise, right?
Okay.
But 80,000 times .004.
And I think if you just move your decimal point over 2 places on your answer, then $342.64 is interest.
How much?
I think if you move your decimal point on your answer you get in your calculator from what you said, your interest would be $342.64.
Okay, that's better.
I think that's close.
Hang on.
But what you're wanting is how much we paid for that loan, is what you're,
He was just trying to figure out what the interest payment was for 1 month of that loan.
Well, shoot. Times
We got 342, I got 66, but yeah.
So 437.
If you take .0514, that's your mortgage rate, take 1/12 of it, whatever that came up to be, and multiply that times 80,000. That's the interest on the first month. About $340
You
worth.
just have to move your decimal point 2 places.
Yeah, you had to move this one over too?
Yeah.
Yeah, then you had to move the, this, wherever the other one was here.
Yeah, that one.
You're not gonna ask that on the question.
No, I'm just trying to make you aware in case you haven't ever looked at that before. If you ever buy a house, as you're paying on it for the first 10 or 12, 15 years, you haven't bought much of that house, you just paid a ton of interest. That's the way the banks set it up.
On those second two sheets you gave us to do math problems on,
No, you
the
can't
very
pay
first
that.
question,
We can ask them.
the answer
No, you
used
said
the
no.
72 rule, and you told us not to worry about the 72 rule for the first.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put the rule of 72 on the first exam, so I'm not gonna worry about it.
I understand, but the answer referenced using the 72 rule to find it.
Okay, but.
And I found it
Yeah.
using the calculations the way you should have used it.
Well-
I was only suggesting that on your answer sheet, you show it both ways.
Okay. Certainly for the second exam.
Because it messed my brain up when I was doing it. I said, because I know what the 72 rule is. He said we didn't have to do that.
Like you can.
We'll get to that for the second exam. We got enough confusion in front of us. Sir?
With the interest per year button, when you put a value in, you're not
Putting decimals.
You're not putting decimals, you're putting a whole number. Okay, I'm just
What was the
wondering.
question?
Okay, great, okay.
What was the question?
When you put the interest rate in, if it says the interest rate's 5.14%, for IY, use the whole number 5.14,
Oh, okay.
not .051.
Okay.
How are we doing so far?
More, we need more.
The one with the divide and the multiplication.
Okay.
That was it.
Yeah, that was one of them.
But, oh yeah, sure
We
was.
took the number of payments times
Yeah,
12, and the
yeah,
interest rate divided by 12.
yeah. Okay, what about one of those ones where we don't even have to do all of this and you just ask us a question like,
I know.
I'm so sorry I didn't have it out.
It's okay.
You might do one where you put money in.
Yeah, the return on
If
interest.
you double your investment.
That's a rule of 72. We can do it. Look at this. Suppose you invested $1,000 and you left it there for 6 years and it doubled.
Okay.
What interest rate are you making?
So you're just picking any number just to show
Just
how to
any number
do
to
it.
double, because it works.
Okay.
So basically it's a 100%.
Do that. Tell me what the answer is.
What's the question?
If you put in 1,000 and 6 years later it becomes 2,000, it doubles in 6 years, what interest rate did you earn?
Around 12%. I cheated.
Ain't cheating if you win.
That's true.
The first one is, yeah.
Forgot to do one of them.
That's 12.24, 12.25.
And I'm looking for my interest.
When you do this, present value, future value, in, calculate I, you get 12.24, 12.25, something like that.
Yeah,
If your investment doubles, that's what the kind of calculation you do.
So you did
Sir?
2,000.
Now, we've done lump sum and annuity problems. Are we gonna see the other two types on the midterm as well?
That's the only two types.
Well, on our handout here, we've got, let's see here, loan payments and
That's payments, that's.
present value of money received in the future.
The present value is a lump sum,
Okay,
and then an annuity is a series of payments.
okay,
Those are the only two times we're using them.
okay.
Good.
If you give us a problem like that and we use a 72 rule in the first, it's wrong, right?
No,
You want calculation?
if you use Rule 72, I'm not gonna take off for it. I'm unreasonable, but not. Okay. Somebody asked me a different question a minute ago.
Give us an annuity example.
An annuity is a payment, just like you did on your mortgage.
Annuity
Anything with a
payment,
payment, okay?
Do one when you do an investment monthly.
Okay. Strickland wants to go to Europe in 5 years. He thinks he needs $14,400 to do that. That includes his bail. He thinks he can put his money into a neat little investment that will pay him 4.27%. How much money does he need to save each month to do that? The 4.27 is an annual rate. But he's going to make monthly payments, so we have to convert it all over to a monthly basis.
Is the money he has to pay considered the present value?
No, he's going to make a payment each month, so he's going to make multiple payments as opposed to one sum.
Oh, and are we, so we're,
This is
what
the
we're
payment.
trying to figure out is how much his payment is,
What's
or
his
how
monthly
much?
payment? What's his monthly payment?
Okay.
220?
Oh, good word. Didn't tell me I had to give answers too. $215.88.
Yeah, do some divisions.
Yeah, $215 and change.
209.72.
Probably. There's some rounding in this. Yeah, $215, give or take. How do we set this up? What is
You got to multiply and
14,400?
divide.
Wait, how much you-
That's what he wants 5 years in the future. So that's our future value, and I'm gonna make that a negative number, okay? What is 4.27? That's the annual rate, but he's doing this each month. So you have to convert this to a monthly rate. So 4.27 divided by 12. That's your IY.
5 is your years.
We have made the assumption his payments are gonna compound monthly. He's making monthly payments.
Oh, but it's not 5, it's for years. It's
How do you get in?
Divide,
sometimes.
multiply.
5 years, once a month, 5 times 12, 60.
259.86 is his payment.
Calculate his payment. We'll do it again, y'all take funny numbers.
47797.
259. What I got.
1.4 was our future value.
We're all getting different, I got 215.44. I got
4.27 divided by 12
215.44
is about
also.
0.3558.
Future.
Oh, I did it.
60's in. Compute payment.
Sorry.
IY.
Right around $215.
What the?
215.
I got 215.71.
6.
Payment.
Is 209 considered close enough?
209, probably. If I looked at your exam and you showed me all of this, it would be perfectly fine. If you just wrote down 209, I figured you were using psychic powers.
You're not starting at
That's what it is. That's what it is. 'Cause I want to look
Can you
at
show us,
I'm not.
yeah.
more complex problems that could be on the exam board?
I'm gonna do that next. Retirement problem.
What was that, Clive?
I
We
don't.
can do a retirement problem after this.
Oh, good.
Does anyone have any questions on this?
Yes. How? I'm getting like 426 and I did it twice.
Got it. Thank you.
I know. Financial calculator?
Yes. I cleared it out. I
How you
did.
clear it? Does that clear the registers too? I don't think so, because these numbers don't register. You want to clear those
I
out.
didn't understand what that meant.
You have to, in your calculator, you have to clear it out.
Each one?
Yep. Before every calculation. You have the right numbers in there. Okay, so we did 14.4.
And that would be future value. All right, 14,400 and we're going to negative that.
That's your future value.
Okay. We got 60 and then that percentage was point.
4.27 divided by 4.27 divided by.
12, right?
Yeah. 3.558, that's your IY. Now calculate the
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Gets to go to Europe.
Yeah, my pastor, you have to clear each one individually.
Oh, I have a question. I want to set my percentages to bigger because I only got 2. I mean, not percentages, my decimals.
Payment. Yeah, so for this one, we're calculating how much is he paying each month.
So we don't worry about the present value at all.
No. And at first, that's why I messed up. At first, I was calculating for
Show them one where they know what monthly payment is, they know what interest rate is, and they know what
Five on every problem, right?
duration is. They don't
I'm sorry?
future value.
Use 4 out of the 5 on every
That's
problem.
different.
Okay, remind me.
I'm confused now. Wait.
Like we don't use PV on this problem, right? So some values like
Oh,
might not use
yeah.
payment.
Yeah, I think when you read, I think the examples on the module are, they're perfect. Honestly, those are the exact levels. You'll be able to see, this is our, this is, and if something's omitted, it's not relevant. That's as long as you know, as long as you have all the others filled out, and you know which one you're solving for. Very good.
The tricky one would just be like dividing.
The tricky thing is still.
Yes, how do I make it so I get more decimals?
Clear everything. This is some of the decimals you need. Second format, you say, 4 decimals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
Anybody else?
You get that?
Anybody else? Yes, sir. Casio or HP?
Not with an HP, I guess 0.214.
You had it with us. Oh, okay. Perfect. Yeah, like,
Anybody else? Next problem, okay?
Yes.
yeah. I have a computer like this at my desk, but I can't figure out how to run it. I can't figure out how to run it. Like, they don't have any software to record it.
JP is 26 years old.
There's a built-in webcam.
JP is 26?
JP is 26 years old. He wants to retire at age 61. No, he'll never make that. We know JP. He's hoping he can retire by age 68. How's that? That's more realistic. Okay? When he retires, he wants to have a little savings account aside that is going to pay him $850 a month. And he has a life expectancy of age 81. How's that? You see the situation so far?
No.
And he thinks that over this period of time, he will earn 4.2% interest on his investments.
Whole time or from 68 to 81?
The whole time. And he wants to know how much, starting today, each month, he needs to put in his savings account.
So we're looking for future payment.
Be careful here.
You gotta figure
Listen to me a minute. He's got age 26 to age 81, I'm sorry, 68, when he retires. And then he's got to go to age 81. Okay? What he needs to know first is how much money do I need in the bank on the day I retire? How much money do I need here to make $850 a month all the way to here? So this, let's use a red color, this is the first calculation. And it looks like this. My payment to myself is going to be $850 a month. I'll make that a negative. How long am I going to do that?
between
13 years?
60 and
13 years once a month. So
divided by
N
12.
is 13 times 12,
13 times.
which is 156. You tracking with me okay?
Going fast.
The
And
IY
then the interest rate
is divided by.
is 4.2% divided by 12, whatever that is.
Looking for future.
And what does he want to calculate? This is important. He wants to know what he needs that day, present value. He wants to calculate the present value that he needs
At age 68.
at age 68.
How did you get him again?
I said he's going to live 13 years after retirement, and he's going to draw out this much money each month. So 13 times 12.
Payment is 850.
You have an honest face. I'm trusting you're not lying to me. 102,045. 45.
So now what we do is future value is to be 100.
Now, stop and be clear on what we've done. Do you understand this, both in terms of mashing buttons and conceptually?
No?
He needs $102,045 in the bank the day he turns 68 and retires. If he has that money in the bank, he'll be taking out of it $850 a month for 13 years, and then it will go down to zero.
0.35.
That's what's happening. Now, listen to me just a minute now. Remember when he's got $102,000 in the bank here and he takes out $850, all the rest that's still there is still earning interest.
True.
Okay? So he doesn't need 850 times 156 payments. He doesn't need that much money because the money he's not drawing out is still sitting here drawing interest. So don't make that mistake and say, oh, he needs 156 payments times $850. No, he doesn't, Moose Brad. He doesn't need that much money because the rest of it's in there drawing interest. Okay so far? This is how much he needs when he retires. That is the present value he needs. Today, he's 26. That's what he needs when he's 68. So the other half of the calculation over here is he needs a future value of $102,045. How many years does he have to get it? 34 years, right? How'd you get 34? 32? 42? 74. How many years does he have?
42.
68 minus 26.
42.
42. So N is 42 years, but he's going to make payments every month. So 42 times 12. 504.
504.
What's his interest rate?
The 4.2.
The same one, 4.2 monthly. So 4.2 divided by 12.
139.
You doing okay with me?
Yep.
What do you want to calculate?
Payments?
His
No.
payment. What's his payment every month?
His payment in to his bank.
Yeah, what does he have to pay into his savings account to have that amount?
That's 7413.
7413?
Wow.
Doesn't sound so bad now, does it? You could drink cheap beer every other month and you'd have that many. That's the retirement problem. You will have one of these. Okay? And it's a two-part exercise where you start from the future and work back to the present. Two steps.
Up to 100.
That's the problem.
If you sat down and did 10 of these in a row, do you think you'd understand it pretty cold?
I understand it now, I just don't want to mess myself up.
Diversify the portfolio.
If he'd started at
Sorry, my
26,
first name.
Oh, man, that's, I didn't even
$74.13. $74.13. Yeah.
Biggest fear is stinky breath.
do. Tell me about it.
We don't do a real life one.
One thing is, I'm gonna write this on paper and then I'm gonna.
Try to do, that's what I know.
Oh, I did it wrong.
Back to that.
Semi.
I didn't see that he's doing it, it's just like.
Since there's no present value, you wouldn't have to make. Since you don't have a PV and an FV, you don't have to make any of them negative.
Yeah. I'd have made this negative.
Oh, you do?
That would have given me a positive payment.
Okay, so you almost always have to have at least one of them negative?
Yeah, at least one of these has to be a negative,
Always.
always. If you put both of them in as positive, you get error 5.
Okay, got it.
Ask me how I know that.
How do you know
I've
that?
done it 1,000 more times.
Yeah. Can't go home. Years.
Oh, okay, because I misunderstood it.
He's got to have $102,445
At 68.
at age 68.
And so if he doesn't work another day in his life from that point on,
He'll still have
still pull out
$850
$850 a month.
plus his social security, and maybe his house is paid for, and maybe $850 he could live on. I don't know.
Tough.
Yeah, because what will $850 buy you in another 40, 50 years?
Yeah, won't buy you much now.
Can I continue, or does anyone want me to review any piece of this?
So the key thing there to know is you've got 2 different sets of ages.
That's right.
On that problem.
2
So
different
that
time
tells you
frames.
you've got 2 parts to the problem.
You got
You
it.
must work from the future to the present.
I'm so scared.
If you will, honestly, listen, if you would create a problem like this on your own and post it on the discussion forum, it'd be interesting to see how many people worked it and came back with the same answer. This is something where you get with 4 or 5 people and say, hey, each of us make up a problem. We all work all the problems and we see our answers. This is math. How do we learn math? Repetition. This should be a gift on the exam if you've done this 10 or 15 or 20 times before next week.
Did you know there's only, 3 math problems anyway?
There'll be between 3 and 6
Yeah.
math problems. Calculations.
Multiple parts.
Now, what we could do to this next is to say, JP waited, imagine that, until he was 51 years old.
Oh, Lord. How's been doing?
Interest rates stayed the same. I don't want you to do this now, but imagine if I asked you, what would his payment have to be now? You want to do that for a quick exercise?
He waited till he was 51 to
He
start.
he didn't start saving until 51.
Oh.
So 51 and 81 is 30.
So the
So
26
now-
changed to 50.
From 51 to 68, he's got 17 years to do this.
Oh, okay.
What would his payment be?
You gotta do which value, so you gotta do
Gotta do
81.
the future.
Oh, based on the
So we
It's
still dealing with the
He still needs
81?
this.
Okay.
So he's got
Okay,
this
we've
for
already got
N, he's got 4.2 over 12 for I.
Oh, okay.
He's still got a future value that he needs to build. He still needs to get $102,045 to retire. What is his payment now?
He's got the 102.
343.55?
Okay, so this is the number, so
What is the-
17. Here, I got it.
How we doing?
Is the end.
17, yeah, so 17 times 12 equals
You could have done it for $74 a month, now you get to do it for $340 a month.
5.
That'll teach you.
Gotta eat ramen every day.
What's the typical rationale for somebody not starting saving when they're 26?
They can't afford it.
I can't afford it. I'll be able to afford it later when I'm making more money. That may be true, but I want you to think about something. If you couldn't save but $25 a month, every month for the rest of your life until you retire, do you understand that's like having 25 indentured servants out there working for you every month and earning interest? That money works for you as soon as you put it in the bank and it starts making interest. And you don't have to work at all. They work for you. There is a book out there, if this ever appeals to you, this whole concept of how to save money and then retire or build a wealth. The book is called The Richest Man in Babylon.
Love that book.
Yeah.
Great book.
I didn't
Worth your
get that
reading.
one.
The Richest Man in Babylon. Take you about 2 hours to read it.
Just so you know, $850 a month, based on a 40-hour week.
If you get
is an
bored.
average of $4.90 an hour if you work.
$343.
That he would be drawing? $850?
$850 would be the same as if he was making $4.90 an hour for a 40-hour
The
work week.
FY is
monthly.
102.
Okay.
Oh, at the very end.
The number.
$4.90.
RY is 135.
That's a $10,200
Payment.
I would divide that by 160 hours.
343.
But if he's also bringing in, let's say he's bringing in $1,600 in Social Security, he's got $850 from his independent account,
We're talking 32 years from now.
yeah.
And whatever.
He's got his house paid for, his car paid for, and he married rich. He's fine. Because we know women, there's more women in college today than there are men.
How many kids do you have?
That I'm aware of.
Did you explain to them what I explained to mine?
Huh?
Did you explain to them the same thing I explained to mine?
What was that?
As soon as they turn 40, they have to start paying $100 a month to me towards my retirement.
I kind of approached it with, I know you think I should help your kids in college, but you won't have to be paying daycare then, so you can pay for them in college.
I just told them all, just say to give me $100 a month to help supplement my retirement. It's great. Straight up.
Well, my son and my son-in-law are engineers, so I'm gonna hold out for more than that.
There you go. You only have two.
I like that approach though.
It works. They laugh.
Yeah. It's either that or I spend their inheritance. I mean, and it's been a good couple of years in the market, so. All right. Let's see. What were you telling me about another problem?
You have to do this.
Where you had,
Just a year.
putting up $200 a month at 7% interest for 8 years.
Okay, if you put $200 a month in the bank for 8 years, that's a month, and you earned an annual rate of 7%, right? How much would you have?
That's an annual rate or a monthly rate?
That's an annual rate,
This is annual?
but you're putting 200 a month. Anytime anything in there says per month, convert it all to a monthly basis.
So you divide.
7% is annually.
7% is annual.
You don't have to convert it for percent because you're only getting paid annually and your money's gonna be the same.
You're depositing every month.
So your percentage
That's
has
just
to
the
be
whole problem,
converted.
and assume a monthly compound. You can't say monthly payments and annual interest, it won't happen. Calculator's gotta be on one basis or the other.
Change your monthly.
If you change that to 2,400,
There you go.
then you're on an annual basis.
Right.
But if you can get compound interest,
Right.
you're better off.
I understand.
So we're
I'm gonna assume you
saving
get
$200 a month for
compound
8 years at
I would
7%
too.
interest.
Okay?
Correct.
This is future gain.
Everybody got an answer?
Yes.
Sure didn't like mine.
She said 348.7.
24,622?
What?
1,595.
That's what I got. What did
I got
One of your
25,000.
samples converts that into an annual.
Yeah.
And you're-
You typically, if it says anything about a monthly payment scheme, convert the rate to monthly.
Either way, on the test, it would be right.
I got
If I can see your work, yeah.
Is this a payment?
25,009,
Must be a payment.
$25,000 for 200 a month?
can't be.
Does that sound reasonable?
Is this a payment?
Wait a minute. 200 a month
24 years.
is 2,400 a year for 8 years.
Can't be.
Nul, dos, and 11, right?
Yeah, so it can't be.
Oh no, he put $11,200 in there.
But it compounded quarterly, or
No.
compounded monthly.
it compounds monthly. I'm saying out of his pocket was $11,200.
Right.
Could that compound in 8 years to more than double? To go from 11.2 to 25,000 and change.
Yes.
That may not be too far off. I'm not sure it's correct. I'm just trying to give you a sense of perspective. If he put this much money out of his pocket,
Okay, so how do you figure that out then?
well, you've got 200, change sign, make it a payment,
And we want to pay.
right? You've got 8 years times 12 times a year. 8 times 12,
96.
96 is in.
Right.
You got 7%. Divided by 12 for a monthly.
0.58.
0.58.
0.58 is your IY. Compute what?
I got
Compute
yeah.
future value. What will he have in the future? What do you get?
25,500.
25,000.
So I got it. But that question that you just did there, can 11,200 turn into 25?
Wait, am I doing something?
If it's compounding monthly, yes, it can.
Yeah, payment is.
That's the power of compound interest. It's much greater than the rule.
Okay, who knows
Yeah,
the
you got all the numbers
banks?
right.
Okay, yeah.
Let's do one more. You ready?
Sure.
I'm your local banker, and I'm going to loan you an $80,000 note on a mortgage, and I'm going to give you a choice. I'll give you a 30-year note at 5.39%, or I'll give you a 15-year note at 4.88%. Which mortgage do you want? And explain why.
4.88?
4.88 or 5.39?
I know which one I want. And I can explain why.
Calculate the payments first, because our situations will vary.
And this is already present value.
The loan, that's the mortgage, right?
Right.
The loans are covered by the
It's your choice, right?
Exactly.
I think I'm going to that lowest one.
Oh, yeah. That is much. You gotta get down to most.
And then the interest rate would be like 2%.
Anybody else confirm those answers?
Yeah.
We're not done. Let's see if you can confirm those answers.
Oh, payment.
I got 448. Oh, good.
Try not to say it with so much surprise.
My nose.
Oh, good. That's better. How many kids you have? Yep, that extra $400 a month, you can afford that shorter mortgage. Does anyone have any questions about these payment amounts? Anybody have any difficulty in finding that?
Oh, that's 360.
You see how I've set each one up?
Because the monthly payment.
I'm close, but not exactly.
How close?
Like 420.68 and 629.31.
I knew it was too easy.
When you did 5.39 divided by 12, what did you get?
0.45?
No, 0.45, okay. So you're rounding down to 2 decimal points, and that rounding error is probably making that difference. You're right.
Okay. This time the concept is right at least.
You gonna do your one vacation here?
I got 627.65.
How are we doing?
I did good. I got close enough. I'm $2 off.
Okay, you can go check these payments after the fact. Follow me now on one more discussion. Watch up here.
Future value.
Huh?
Let's do future.
Well, just this. Which hurts your cash flow every month?
Woo! 626.
This is gonna cost you, what, $180 more every month?
Right.
That's why a lot of people want that longer mortgage. But how much is that house going to cost you?
Yeah,
A lot more.
$448 a month for 360 months. How much is that?
161.542.
161,799. 161,719.
401,000.
That ain't right.
161.548 too.
Yeah, whatever.
This should be somewhere triple that, 80, which would be 240.
No, I get 161, give or take. How much did this house cost you?
113.
Yeah.
You make that payment only 180 times 113,000?
112.
978 technically.
112,977. 112.
Y'all go outside and fight over a dollar.
977. Oh, 78.
So this one cost you $50,000 more,
Yeah, mercy.
just so you could save $180 a month. What's the word for that in economics?
But if you put that $180,000 or $180 a month for 30 years
Into an investment.
retirement,
Yeah.
If your investment's paying more than 5.39, you will not be as bad off,
Right.
okay?
But if you're going to the club on the weekends, you're gonna earn it.
So you answer that question another way, you take $50,000 that you're gonna have, and then you wanna know how much you would have to put a month over 15, over 30 years to get
Pay it
that.
off so long.
This
One other comment, what a lot of people do is they take the longer mortgage, so that if their income drops for a while, they're still able to make payments, and then when their income is good, they don't send a payment of $448.
Send more.
They send a payment of maybe $700. And they say, take the extra $250 and put
Put
it
it towards
towards
my
the
premium.
Put it
Yeah.
toward my.
Then you bring that thing down unhurt,
Yeah.
Right.
got it.
okay? That was the last question or problem I was prepared to present, but I'm open to anything else. Question?
Yeah, when I compute like the interest and divide it by 12,
Yeah.
it just rounds it automatically.
Yeah.
It doesn't give me anything, is that okay?
That's fine. Whatever is showing, just put I like.
Okay, because it's like $1.
$1 off is very minor. $20 off is very minor in our discussion. Yes, ma'am?
Now, the questions, should we assume monthly on a question like this, or will it say monthly?
If it says mortgage, it's monthly. If it says car payment, it's monthly, okay? You make that assumption, as long as you show me what you did, when I see something like this and this, I know you assumed monthly, and if that seems reasonable, that's no problem. Other questions, other comments? Time value of money in general, the class in general?
Is it okay if we just circle the answer if we don't put the answer on the bottom?
Good. I'm sorry, this shrinks for what?
When you ask the questions, I do my steps and the buttons are lined out on the calculator. It's just the way I've done it.
Oh, you set them across?
I set them down, but in the same order they are across. And I just fill in the locks and I just circle the one that was the answer.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's no problem. Yeah.
So the answer for this question is we want to choose the one that we end up paying less for the house in the end.
No.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. You have to just defend your
This is why
answer.
it truly becomes a discussion question.
Yeah.
Oh, is it just okay?
Which mortgage would you prefer? I think that would depend on what you projected to be your earnings pattern for the next 15 to 30 years, or any other financial events that may occur in your life. If you say, well, I'm newly married and we're planning to have children, you may not want to be saddled with that extra payment.
Yeah.
Okay?
And you can always refinance. We did,
Yeah, if rates drop enough.
which we did, we took the 30 down to a 20.
In
down
most
to
of your history, that's been an advantage. In the past, not so much.
Yeah.
Other questions, comments?
This is just a comment.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that the videos you posted, especially the one about the cash advances, going and getting the payday loans. I work at a bank. I see people do that all the time, and it kills me that they do that. And I just like that you presented that, because there might be some people in the class, and hopefully they watched it, that didn't realize what they were getting themselves into.
I appreciate your feedback. Let me do that just for a second, okay? Snappy Strickland's Lending Emporium.
Yeah, stay away.
Look, you're tight for money. I'll tell you what, I'll loan you $400 this week. Today, Wednesday. Next Wednesday, you pay it back, and you pay me a little extra. You pay me $440, okay? I'm only going to charge you 10% on your loan. Does that seem like a reasonable thing for friends to do? Of course it does. Okay, here's the money, sign the paper. You ready? Is that 10% interest?
No.
Hell, yes it is. It's $40 on 400, it's 10% interest.
Compounded week.
Compounded for 52 weeks.
Yeah,
I'm charging you 520% annual rate of interest for your loan.
Wow.
There's another term in economics for that. Real stupid.
And those are the actual prices that they charge. For 500, it's normally $550. That is the actual rate that they
That's
charge.
And it's up even more for that if they do those rapid refund loans at
Oh,
the
yeah.
tax
Oh, yes.
places.
So I know this well. That's what my grandfather did in the Great Depression. That's how he supported a family of 7 kids. I wonder why he moved from Valdosta to Jacksonville back and forth frequently. I don't know that he did that, but we speculate. Sir?
Will you be discussing this kind of thing on the exam?
No.
Okay.
No, this is one of those things that is not time value of money that I'll probably, if I do it on an exam at all, be on the final.
Got it.
I just thought it was great that he actually said that, because there's so many people out there that don't understand.
You're right. You're exactly right. We call it trading on ignorance. Businesses often trade on our ignorance. Yes, ma'am?
I didn't get a chance to watch that video, but how exactly does that work?
I give you 400 today, you give me 440 next week. I charge you $40 interest on a $400 loan. 40 over 400 is 10%. But when we talk about loan rates, we quote the rate on an annual basis. This is for 1 week loan. So when you quote 1 week over a whole year, that's 10% times 52 weeks. So your rate that you're really paying is 520% interest.
That should be illegal.
Just on that one little $400 loan.
They should be locked up.
So pretty much what it's doing is just kind of exposing the fact that they make you pay really high.
Yeah, if I tell you you're only paying 10%, it sounds like not too bad. What I'm not telling you is you're paying that to borrow the money for a week, not a year.
If he's truly charging you 10%, it would only be $4.40
Okay.
instead
On a
of
week.
$40 on a week.
So then it would be
But that would be 10% a year, not 10%.
Yeah. Anytime somebody wants to loan you money on a weekly basis, get out of that office. Anything else? Next week, 5:30, where?
Yeah.
Not here.
No, wait, not here. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Is it
Santa Fe College.
P260 and 160.
Oh,
You're going to get both rooms in case everybody shows up. We still have, right now, I think we have 92 people in this class. But we had 147 registered during the first week.
now you scared them off.
That's crazy.
But a lot of them haven't dropped the course. They just stopped turning in work.
Well, I think there's a requirement that you have to be like so far out due to financial aid, that's why. So they'll probably drop soon. You have to have a grade below a certain point before they can actually drop. Like
Really?
raw.
Drop ad.
Oh, yeah.
Not the drop ad
Not
day,
drop
because that's earlier,
You're not-
later. I'm talking later.
Okay, I'll learn more about that. The seating in P160 is only about 55 seats, and we're gonna have more students than that. So P160 and P260, we plan on that. Arrive at 5:30, bring a Scantron full size, bring some notebook paper for scratch and for answers, bring a calculator, a pen, and a pencil. You answer that Scantron and pen, we're gonna have a conversation. Okay? C or better. Max it out. Bye.